This is where chocolate comes from.
So this is cacao.
For Isaías Mendoza, the sacred plant is a connection to his Mayan heritage. Cacao has been a spiritual symbol for indigenous people across Central America for millennia. But as the modern chocolate industry grew, the plant's ritual use was nearly forgotten. Today, people like Isaías are breathing new life into the tradition of drinking pure cacao. We visited Guatemala to see how the ancient use of chocolate is still standing. Cacao was once a drink used in rituals like weddings and human sacrifices. But today, Isaías is incorporating it into his Mayan fire ceremony. He and his wife Isabel lead prayers and set up an altar around a cacao tree, with offerings like flowers and candles for the Mayan spirits.
So we're going to call the spirit of cacao, the spirit of these lands.
Mostly foreigners come to his ceremonies. Isaías says many Guatemalans today stay away from Mayan spirituality.
The churches or the religions, it's so big here. It's so big. They disempower the indigenous beliefs.
The plant contains theobromine, a compound that stimulates the heart and can make people feel euphoric when taken in high doses.
Cacao will help to open the heart, and people are afraid of that because the only love that exists for them is Jesus, is the religion.
Isaías faced resistance from his Christian family when he and Isabel left home to become shamans. His mother was against it.
She thought I was going to the darkness. I have failed to my family.
But he went on to build a business around his heritage. Today, he employs around 20 people to process and sell cacao through his company called Lava Love, based in San Marcos. Some of them are indigenous women, like Maria Mendoza. She picks through the beans that come already fermented from different farms across the Guatemalan coasts. Any cracked or moldy beans are not up to standard. She toasts them by hand in small batches. Burnt cacao tastes too similar to coffee, but toasting it just the right amount brings out the flavor and makes it easier to peel. Just up the road, workers at Lava Love's factory inspect the beans again and remove any remaining shells. From there, the beans go to a facility where machines grind them into a paste. Workers scoop 1 pound of cacao into each mold. Isaías says they produce and sell an average of about 185 blocks per month, 3 times more than when they first opened. Once the liquid solidifies, workers package up the blocks. They sell these across the world through local ambassadors, so people can make their own cacao drink at home. Some of the beans are reserved for demonstrations at Lava Love's store. Workers like Hilda Sancoy Sacach show visitors the traditional methods of their ancestors.
Es muy importante preservar esta manera de hacerlo con las manos para que no se mueran las tradiciones.
Before machines sped up this process, women were in charge of grinding cacao by hand.
Entonces es aquí donde nosotros agarramos fuerzas físicas para poder levantar los platos, para poder cargar a los niños. Entonces, en esta piedra de moler es muy significativo para nosotros, para decir de que aquí me empodero como mujer.
They crush the beans with the 30-pound stone for 15 minutes straight, until it becomes a paste.
Las abuelas decían, si uno deja el cacao bien fino, es porque ya está listo para casarse. Y si uno lo deja mal hecho, entonces aún no está lista para casarse.
Then Hilda prepares the ceremonial dose. She mixes hot water with 42 grams of cacao. The recipe takes no sugar at all. Instead, she adds cardamom and cinnamon before beating it all together.
Es un proceso donde nosotros transmitimos lo que nosotros queremos que nuestros clientes sientan.
The ritual of drinking chocolate can be traced back to at least 1100 BC in Mesoamerica. It likely originated with the first civilization there, the Olmecs, and became a high-end beverage for the Maya and the Aztecs. Cacao was one of the most important commodities in the region for centuries. At one point, people exchanged beans as currency. the plant had medicinal uses too. The Spanish took cacao to Europe while colonizing the Americas in the 16th century. Its popularity exploded among European elites. They set up plantations across Latin America, eventually giving rise to the modern chocolate industry and pushing indigenous tradition to the side.
Wow, mira.
Today, Isaías owns a small plantation that he uses for tours. He shows people how the plant grows and how it tastes.
The taste, it is sweet, slimy. It looks like an ice cream.
Isaías is after a rare, ancient kind of cacao called criollo. It has a more mild taste, and Isaías says it's better for his ceremonies.
We want the properties of the cacao that helps people to open their consciousness and open the heart, because it's more powerful that way.
Drinking pure cacao can help boost energy. But the spiritual element is what many are interested in, including foreigners. Keith Wilson was one of the first people to open a cacao business here in San Marcos, after leaving the United States in 2003.
And the beans look like this.
Now, he's well known here for his cacao ceremonies, which have moved from his porch to his computer during the pandemic.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have one of these, if you have yourself a cup of cacao. I don't do indigenous ceremonies. I am assisting this medicine to come out of the rainforest and connect to the people that I connect to, Western people, to open their hearts and reestablish the balance.
After spending 3 years visiting plantations and learning from indigenous people, he shared his knowledge with others around town. Isaías first learned how to process cacao through Keith. But to become a shaman, Isaías received training from Mayan elders when he was 23. Keith hasn't received the same kind of training, but some people call him the chocolate shaman.
That term, chocolate shaman, just happened because a shaman is a teacher, an energy worker. Now, if somebody wants to say that's not shamanism if you aren't trained by a culture, well, okay, I don't have an argument with that. Close your eyes.
Today, Keith and Isaías' ceremonies look pretty different.
Fill with that inner smile into a radiance from all of us to all of us.
His work is more like New Age stuff. There's nothing that is right or wrong. There's just different, but it's all sacred. It's all connected.
Cacao's popularity exploded here just a few years after Keith started selling it and holding ceremonies.
I mean, it reached the place where in this town it became cacao and yoga, cacao and meditation. Cacao became a thing with everything. We have approximately 50 international competitors, most of whom have come to this porch and learned right here.
The cacao craze has spread beyond Guatemala, with ceremonies popping up in cities across the US and Europe. Some critics argue that the trend is a form of cultural appropriation. But Isaías is happy to share cacao with foreigners, as long as they remember its origins.
We watch people that they're singing with cacao and doing this and doing that. That's fine. But still, go to the ceremonies and learn from the indigenous.
Today, his family embraces his work, and he hopes to share his practice with as many people as possible.
I feel that we are called to teach people to hold the sacredness of cacao instead of just partying with cacao.